Normally, these would include the senior level manager, whether the senior level manager, the subordinates. Those would be the employees who work directly under the manager. Peers. Management on top of that level of management. Customers and clients. Suppliers and funders and donors. That's what the process involves. The process in a nutshell involves obtaining feedback from these key contacts. Obtaining feedback from the manager, from the subordinates directly under the manager, peers. Management on top of that level, customers and clients, and suppliers and funders. This is where the feedback comes from. And we'll take a look at what type of feedback specifically we're looking for. But this is where the feedback comes from when implementing a 360-degree assessment. It's feedback from these specific contacts, from these specific levels of management, from these specific levels of clients. These are the contacts that typically provide the most essential feedback that can be translated into specific metrics for an effective 360-degree assessment. And again, we'll take a look at what specific feedback we'll be looking for in just a moment. But this is where the feedback comes from. Now, just to visualize the process, again, we have the agency as the center. We'll have the superior, in other words, whatever level of the agency we're assessing, we'll get assessment feedback from the level directly on top of that. We want feedback from team members, whether they be direct subordinates of that level management, or whether they be peers. We want to obtain feedback from customers and clients, people we serve. We want to obtain feedback from suppliers and vendors, funders, and sponsors. And then finally, we want to obtain feedback from subordinates. This is the 360-degree process in a nutshell. We're obtaining feedback from 360 degrees around us. That's the 360 degrees that surround the specific area of the agency that we're trying to assess. We're not going to focus, say for example, we're trying to assess the effectiveness of the accounts payable department. Right? We're trying to assess the effectiveness of the accounts payable department in our agency. Now, in the agency itself, we have a lot of different functions, we have a lot of different areas, we have a lot of different areas of management. Being that we're focusing only on the 360 degrees that surround the accounts payable department, we're not going to try to obtain feedback from the fundraising department. We're not going to try to obtain feedback from the marketing department. We want to obtain feedback from the 360 degrees, from anybody, from any department that's within that 360 degree line, specifically around the accounts payable department. And the same would be if we're trying to assess the program development department. We're not going to focus on the accounts. We're not going to focus on feedback from the accounts payable, because the accounts payable is not within the 360 degrees that surround the program development department. So again, when focusing on when trying to accomplish a successful 360 degree self-assessment, we're going to focus on the level of the agency. We're going to take a look at what level of the agency we're trying to assess, what area of the agency we're trying to assess. We're going to try to obtain feedback from the 360 degrees that directly surround that agency, whether it's the clients or customers that area of the agency serves, whether it's the suppliers, vendors, funders, donors, etc., that level of agency specifically deals with. We're going to try to obtain feedback from the superior, that's the level directly on top of that area of the agency, the team members, the peers, and the subordinates, directly related to that specific area of the agency. Now, when trying to implement a 360 degree assessment, we have 5 phases. We have the planning phase, the pilot phase, the implementation phase, the feedback phase, and the review phase. And that will lead eventually to the subsequent years or the subsequent terms, renewed assessment. Okay, again, we have the planning phase. That's where we're going to sit down and figure out what we want to assess, how we're going to go about assessing it. We pilot that plan. We implement that plan. We obtain the feedback. We review it. And then we go on to next year's planning. And essentially this is the 5-step process technically for any program development. Except that in a 360 degree assessment, feedback is the most crucial phase. Feedback is the actual goal, as opposed to a typical program development where success is the ultimate goal. Success of the program is the ultimate goal. 360 degree assessments, the crucial part of this 5-point chain is accurate feedback. Therefore, more planning needs to go into setting up the system in a way that'll provide us with more accurate feedback. But that's the process in a nutshell. Again, there's the planning phase, the piloting phase, the implementation phase, the feedback phase, which is the most crucial phase, and the review phase, and then we we continue on to next year's planning. Now, this is the crucial question of any successful 360-degree self-assessment. How is the feedback obtained? Now, typically the feedback is obtained by using a questionnaire that asks the participants to rate the agency and individual according to observed trends and behaviors. Usually they'd be managerial or business-specific competencies, but not limited. Again, the questionnaire is used to obtain feedback, again, from just the 360 degrees that surround the actual area of the actual area they're trying to assess. But the questionnaire is used to obtain information the information will be based on the perception of the respondent. But the main thing we're trying to obtain is the respondent's perception of trends and behaviors, the managerial and business-specific competencies and trends and behaviors. Now, it's important to remember that the process won't suit all agencies and companies. We need to assess how well it would fit with the current culture before launching the scheme. And a pilot scheme is worth building into the program, just to test the waters first. But that's how feedback is obtained. Feedback is obtained by simply using a questionnaire. Now, the details of the questionnaire, again, this is just a rough outline. They'd be tailored more specifically to each individual agency's specific needs. But there'd be a Part A and a Part A1, Part A2. Part A would be an area that would be filled by the respondent before interviewing the respondent, before trying to obtain the more crucial feedback. And that's once that Part A is filled out, that'd be sent back to the appraiser. Part A1 would be for the respondent to fill up their understanding of the duties and responsibilities, whether it be duties and responsibilities as a client, whether it be the duties and responsibilities as a funder, whether it be the duties and responsibilities of any area or any area around that 360-degree circle that we're trying to obtain feedback from. Part A2 would be discussion points. How would you rate the experience you've had over the past year? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it satisfactory? And why? This is a crucial area simply because this gives the appraiser an idea of where the respondent's perception may stem from. For example, if we as an agency are dealing with a client that has had a terrible experience with us,